Hi, my name is Ribeiro and let's start this summer sale video with Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. Bound to protect a young lord who is a descendant of an ancient bloodline, you become the target of many vicious enemies. When the young lord is captured, nothing will stop you on a perilous quest to regain your honor. Well, except death. Death will stop you many times. Although I have one piece of advice on how to easily beat this game. It's very simple. Stop being a noob and get good. Thymesia. This is a dark fantasy action RPG with fast-paced combat and an interesting plague weapon system. In a kingdom where death rules, you will play as a mysterious character known by the codename Corvus. And as always, you are the kingdom's final hope, blah blah, the fate of the land is resting in your hands, and so on. You know, also it's a short game. It is possible to beat it in 6 hours, but hey, let's be fair and square and triangle. It ain't gonna happen unless you are a god of gamepad. Also, if you like tea with Thymes, then you are strong and this game needs you. Blasphemous. This game is a true work of art. I don't think that any of you will argue with me about that. Art-wise, this is one of the best examples of Metroidvania and Souls genre collision. Interesting thing is that the major influence of Blasphemous' story and design was the religious art of the city of Seville in Spain, and also works of famous Spanish painters, especially Francisco Goya and his 200-year-old painting called A Procession of Flagellants, or Flagellants, I have no idea how to say it. If you want some nightmares before bed, just Google Goya's paintings. They are as great as they are creepy. People on Steam are saying that the game has incredible dynamic music and amazing voice acting. Also, some dudes are seriously stating that Blasphemous was a gateway drug to a 2D indie platformer games from AAA Souls-likes, so it can really expand your horizons, but mostly here you will just die and die again. Nioh Complete Edition. You play as a lone traveler in the age of samurai who lands on the shores of Japan. You must fight your way through the vicious warriors and supernatural creatures that infest the land in order to reach your destination. The Complete Edition contains the full game and 3 expansions with additional story chapters. People are jokingly saying that in this game you are Vibu Geralt, and as with the Witcher game you just have to play Nioh with a gamepad. By the way, in 2021 Nioh Complete Edition was free on Epic, so you might have it already if you were used to taking free goodies from there. Outward Definitive Edition. This is an open-world survival game with Souls-like combat mechanics. In this edition you will find both DLCs, new weapons, dungeons, and also several life quality improvements. The game has only a mostly positive review score on Steam, but it doesn't do the justice. Most people who are giving a dislike spend 40 to 60 hours in-game, and that honestly looks like some kind of masochism. If you don't like the game, just don't play it. Like Warren Buffett once said, always take the easy road and you will get there first. Anyway, Outward is like Skyrim and Dark Souls had a weird hybrid baby, and instead of abortion, this time they decided to keep it. If you like both games, why not? Outward has some problems, but in general it is a nice game. Remnant From the Ashes. This is a third-person RPG shooter. Here the world has been thrown into a chaos by an ancient evil from another dimension. As gamers on Steam pointed out, they just ripped off a plot from Neverending Story. That's a shame, but in general this is a great game. So here, as one of the last remnants of humanity, you must set out alone or alongside up to 2 other survivors, and then face down hordes of deadly enemies, rebuild and retake what was lost. The stronger side of the game is the various guns and weapons. They're really good looking and fun to use. You know how in some other games you get a nice looking gun, but there is no real satisfaction to shoot it? Well, that's not the case in Remnant. Also, people are praising the great co-op mode, so you can play the game with your mother-in-law and do some nice bonding together. Dead Cells. Overwhelmingly positive reviews should lock your attention even if you don't like pixel art graphics, and this game can stand strong behind the name of the style. It's true art. The game is really beautiful, just like you, my friend, but graphics are just one side of the coin. People on Steam are saying that this roguelite Metroidvania is probably the best game of the genre. Along with the graphics, you will get great music and gameplay more addictive than potato salad. People are also joking that here using the machete and pistol weapon is the closest thing we'll ever get to Bloodborne on PC. And speaking about platforms, it should be an amazing experience on Steam Deck. You can also acquire it on Switch, but we all know that Nintendo is not very fond of discounts, so the Steam version it is. Asterigos, Curse of the Stars. Game was released less than 2 months ago and it's an owner of very positive reviews. In this high fantasy world you will discover the long-forgotten secrets, interesting battle encounters, interconnected maps full of places to explore, and an immersive story where every choice matters. The game is really fun if you like light Souls-like battles and can enjoy a bit of cartoony graphics, but not everything is nice. Game has no map, like at all, so you will have to remember all the places in your head. That of course creates another level of immersiveness because you will have to use your actual navigational senses you usually never use in games. But do we actually want that? I don't think so. Anyway, if you decide to obtain it, the game will take about 30 hours from your boring life. Steelrising. Basically, if you like dark fantasy and hate France, it's a game for you. Nah, I'm obviously kidding, I love France. But here the country is in ruins and only you can save French people and beat the oil and screws out of the bodies of bloodthirsty robots. So what happened here? Why are there so many automatons running in Paris and killing everyone left and right? Well, of course, because of the evil king Louis XVI. He made an army of robots and started to terrorize citizens just because he can. And because the king doesn't want history to unfold just like it unfolded in our reality. He was so unpopular that he was executed by guillotine, and after his death France became a republic. By the way, fun fact, after his head was cut off, the cheering crowd rushed towards his dead body with the hopes to soak his blood into the napkins, you know, as a souvenir. Such a napkin nowadays would be worth a fortune, no doubt. Imagine, you could probably even clone the king from it and claim the throne of France once again. That is one dangerous napkin. Anyway, people on Steam are saying that Steelrising is a fun steampunk-themed Souls-like game in which you can tweak combat difficulty, so it is more friendly for casual players. But the game lacks optimization. Some gamers say it stutters even on modern PCs, but that is not an issue for everyone, although it's often enough for it to drop the game's score to only mostly positive. Dreamscaper. This is a beautiful action roguelite game. At first the gameplay is very easy. At least it was when I played the game. I felt no bigger challenge and all the creatures died from my mighty swings without any problems. I was like, hey, I'm really good at this game. The challenge began when I finally met the first boss. And the fight was great, like 10 out of 10 great. And also it was the strongest aspect of this game. But I was kinda surprised that the more I played, the more Souls-like the game got. Easy peasy beginning was a trap. Actually, Dreamscaper is very unforgiving and difficult. I wouldn't mind, but most of the weapons here are slow, you know, like your sister. I felt like I was swinging them through the water or something, and you have to make perfectly timed attacks for critical hits. That is a hard thing to do with slowpoke weapons, but if this isn't a problem for you, then it may be the game for you. It has great art design, visuals, puzzles, and the gameplay is really fun. Sands of Horror. This is a wonderful hack-and-slash RPG, but with huge influence from the Souls-like genre, meaning that you will die a lot, and then you will die even more, and that, at least for me, takes a lot of fun away. Game has really beautiful graphics, and despite it's a hard game, you can control your hero quite easily and kill some monsters without a sweat. Well, after some practice. To be honest, after a lot of practice. And for some of you, practice may not help at all.
Well, that escalated quickly.
Anyway, I'm kidding, the game is not insanely hard, but it will challenge you, especially the bosses. Otherwise, it's a nice game. But keep in mind that it is in early access and you may want to wait for the full release, because they are resetting the progress with every update. That kinda sucks, I ain't gonna lie. Hellpoint. This is a dark action RPG set in a heavily atmospheric sci-fi universe where the line between science and occultism is blurred. Once a pinnacle of human achievement, the Irid Novo space station has fallen. Its ruins are now overrun by cruel, interdimensional entities acting as puppets of the malevolent cosmic gods. That sounds very Lovecraftian, and cosmic horror is one of my favorite things, along with boobs and potato salad. People are talking that this game is a hybrid between Dark Souls and Dead Space. But I played it and it's literally just another Dark Souls game. Yeah, it's in space, but you know, whatever. Actually, if you want, you can play one chapter for free. You can find Hellpoint: The Thespian Feast on Steam. The game itself has around 80% of positive reviews, so it's an okay game. Nothing fancy about it, but you can enjoy it for a few hours if you are a fan of Souls-like mechanics. Also, a controller is a must. Achilles: Legends Untold. Here you'll take control of a man with a really weak heal, but with very strong everything else. The journey will take you to many different corners of mythological lands, where you'll obtain powerful artifacts that will aid you in your quest. Game has a cool AI system that introduces innovative enemy behavior. Opponents have unscripted interactions with each other and are capable of coordinated attacks, sometimes even taking advantage of their surroundings. Developers are saying that the game is Souls-like, but not as hard as Souls games, so various Diablo-like action RPG lovers could play it as well. So it's like Sands of Aura, a mix of genres, but it's really worth your attention. The Surge 2. On the way to Jericho City, your plane is shut down by a mysterious storm and crash lands in the outskirts. You wake up weeks later in a derelict detention facility inside the city. Armor-clad soldiers enforce martial law. Robots are on a rampage and a dark expanding nanostorm looms over the cityscape. So long story short, everything here wants you dead. But you are not some lame puny peasant, you have your mechanical sword and can beat enemies with it and take their parts and make yourself better in the process. Eldest Souls. This is a Souls-like boss rushing game where you kill evil gods. Well, at least you think they are evil, but the backstory is that mankind imprisoned those gods a long time ago and now they are draining your world of life itself. To be fair, we brought this on ourselves, and now we have to repair the stuff our ancestors screwed up a long time ago and kill some gods. Or, more realistically, to die a lot. Game looks great, those graphics are true work of art, no doubt. The only thing I don't like is the name of a game. Eldest Souls are obviously named because of a genre, but I find it a bit annoying practice. It's like naming an action RPG game Diablo. Imagine Path of Diablo, Grim Diablo, Torch Diablo, Diablo Arc, Diablo Quest, Victor Diablo, and of course the incredible adventures of Van Diablo. That would be silly, right?
No, that would be actually cool.
Oh, shut up. Source of Madness. This is a side-scrolling, dark action roguelite set in a twisted Lovecraftian world powered by a procedural generation and AI machine learning. You will take on the role of a new acolyte as you embark on a nightmarish odyssey, and in the process uncover the cosmic secrets of the creepy world and the Tower of Madness. The coolest thing here is that the horrific monsters you face are never the same. They are concocted with procedural generation and animated using a neural network AI. What can I say, the future is now. I can't wait for more expensive games, 3D games maybe, to start using similar or maybe more advanced technology. Monsters designed by artificial intelligence which is using our darkest fears as an algorithm would be beyond awesome. Nioh 2, the Complete Edition. Here you can create your own original protagonist and embark on an adventure that will take you through devastated lands across Japan during the Sengoku period. Much like the previous title, which gained a lot of praise from fans and critics alike, Nioh 2 contains an original story and a lot of action. This edition includes all the content from Nioh 2 along with all 3 DLC expansions: The Tengu's Disciple, Darkness in the Capital, and The First Samurai. You can also play the game at 120 frames per second if your monitor is a beast. Also, it supports 4K, ultra-wide screens, and so on. People on Steam are talking that this game is a masterpiece, well-balanced title with great replayability value, but definitely not for those who suck at Souls-like games. Death's Door. Here you control a crow, some kind of bird Grim Reaper. Suddenly your assigned soul is stolen, and you must track down a desperate thief to a realm untouched by death, where creatures grow far past their expiry date and overflow with greed and power. Well, this place sounds like a parliament of every country. You will have a vast array of melee weapons, various arrows and powerful magic to overcome a fantastic bunch of beasts and demigods. The land is full of twisted inhabitants and countless secrets, just like Parliament. Anyway, here you'll experience a somber yet darkly comedic tale, uncovering the secrets beyond the flaw of souls, the role of the crows, and the origin of the potato salad man himself. Well, probably not the latter, I'm just kidding.
Or am I?
Mortal Shell. Here combat is very strategic. You must thrust your weapon only when an opportunity opens. You have to calculate your moves and unleash counterblows or perish and meet your doom if you are an impatient one. You will be given some cool abilities like Stone Form, which can be used as a block or to add brutal weight to your own devastating attacks. Also, the RPG element is very strong here. You can get new skills, upgrade old ones, sharpen your blades with acid, and of course find different weapons. Your path is guarded by tough adversaries a series devoted to creepy gods. You will meet many grotesque creatures, but do not let fear halt your journey. Muster your courage and face them down as a true sofa warrior you are. I know that this game will probably infuriate you, but the price is very nice, so you can probably afford to infuriate yourself for less than 10 euros. I would even say that this is the right price for the game. I wouldn't dare to recommend it to you for the full price, but now, you know, why not? And for the end, of course, the Dark Souls franchise. The last time Dark Souls games were on sale was more than 2 years ago in autumn and winter sales of 2021. So when on this summer sale we suddenly, and let's be honest, kinda unexpectedly saw them for half the price, it was a good day for all Souls-like game lovers. Elden Ring is also discounted. 30% is not much, but keep in mind that Elden Ring since the release was discounted only once and then never again. So if you don't buy it on the sale, you might have to wait a year or so again. Well, at least until the winter sale. The game is fantastic, really hard, challenging and difficult, but you know, you can download some mods and make it more user-friendly. Thank you for watching, and if you visit my channel, you'll find way more Steam Summer Sale videos inside. Check them all, every single one of them, no pressure. Have a nice day and I'll see you next time, bye!